Who Wants to Be a Millionaire exploded onto TV screens in 1998, quickly becoming more than just a game show. It became a global sensation that redefined what we watch in the evenings. Created by David Briggs, Mike Whitehill, and Stephen Knight, the show offered the ultimate challenge: answer a series of tough questions correctly and win £1 million. Simple, right? Yet each question brought more suspense, helped by lifelines like Ask the Audience, 50-50, and Phone a Friend, which drew viewers deeper into the game. By 2001, a third of the UK was hooked, glued to their seats as contestants navigated the thrilling path to wealth. But behind the scenes, not everything was as straightforward as it seemed. On September 9, 2001, Charles Ingram, who used to be in the British Army, went on a TV show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? He's sometimes called the Coughing Major. At first, he didn't do very well, but then he started to get lucky. The answers he gave at the end of the show, which got him the big prize, were not very confident and seemed strange. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire starts with a challenge called Fastest Finger First. In this round, all the contestants compete to arrange answers in the correct order as quickly as possible. The fastest contestant wins the chance to play the main game in the hot seat opposite the host. On September 9, 2001, Charles Ingram took part in this preliminary round. He impressively managed to sort the answers correctly in just 3.97 seconds, securing his place to play for the £1 million prize. At the start of the game, Ingram didn't do very well. He had trouble answering questions, which were easy at that point. He used 2 of his 3 lifelines early, which shows that he might not do well in the game. But then, Ingram's luck or strategy changed. After some wrong answers, he started giving correct answers one after another. He even turned around some situations where he seemed like he was going to give the wrong answer. This unexpected change helped him move forward in the game and win the prize. The tension in the studio was high as Charles Ingram approached the final £1 million question. This was the moment that could change his life forever. The question asked was to identify a large number known as a googol. Initially, Ingram seemed clueless about the answer. He expressed doubt and was unsure whether a googol was the correct answer. Something unusual happened as he thought out loud about the choices. Even though he first admitted to not recognizing the term googol, he suddenly declared with confidence that googol might indeed be the correct answer. This abrupt change in his behavior was striking. Until this point, he had been hesitant and unsure about most of his answers, often needing long pauses to think, and even then, his answers were uncertain. Ingram's sudden confidence in what he claimed was an unfamiliar term raised eyebrows. Why did he change his mind so drastically and decisively? This behavior was different from how he handled earlier questions, where he often seemed to guess randomly. Now, he appeared to be sure of his answer, which was correct and won him £1 million. This last-minute switch, from doubt to certainty, was key to his winning, but also key to the growing suspicions that something unusual was influencing his answers. This shift in demeanor became a critical part of the investigation that followed, as it suggested that Ingram might have been receiving help from someone in the audience. After Charles Ingram won the £1 million, the producers of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire became suspicious. They were puzzled by how Ingram, who seemed unsure about many answers, could correctly answer so many difficult questions, especially the last few, which won him the grand prize. To understand what happened, they decided to carefully review the video footage of the game. While watching the footage, the producers noticed something odd. There was a pattern of coughs coming from the audience whenever Ingram read out a correct answer option. This was unusual because the coughs seemed to occur just as Ingram was about to choose his answer. Each time he mentioned the correct answer, whether or not he intentionally seemed to lean towards it, a cough would sound. This pattern repeated throughout the later stages of the game, where the questions were toughest and the stakes were highest. The producers realized that these weren't just random coughs. They seemed to be signals helping Ingram identify the correct answers. This discovery led to a deeper investigation. The show's team analyzed the audio tracks isolated from the audience's microphones and confirmed that the coughs were indeed suspicious. They matched the timing of Ingram's mentions of correct answers too closely to be mere coincidence. This evidence of cheating shocked the producers and ignited a major scandal. The situation quickly escalated from an internal review to a full-blown legal investigation involving the police. The discovery of the coughing pattern turned Ingram's big win into a controversial case of deception on national television. As the investigation into Charles Ingram's win on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire deepened, details of a coughing scheme began to emerge. The strategy was simple yet clever. Ingram would read out each of the multiple-choice answers aloud, and an accomplice in the audience would cough when Ingram mentioned the correct answer. This pattern of coughing provided Ingram with the signals he needed to choose the right answers, despite often appearing unsure. The main accomplices identified were Tekwek Widdock, who was also a contestant on the show, and reportedly Diane Ingram, Charles' wife. Widdock was strategically seated among the audience, where he could see Ingram and had a clear line to cough without drawing immediate suspicion. His role was critical in signaling the right answers through his coughs. Following the discovery of this scheme, the show's producers decided to withhold Ingram's prize money. The media quickly picked up on the story, leading to a frenzy that captivated the nation. Ingram and his accomplices were charged, and the case went to trial. The trial itself was a spectacle, heavily covered by the press, and it concluded with all three defendants being found guilty of conspiring to cheat the show. Despite the verdict, Charles Ingram and his wife have continued to maintain their innocence. They claim they were unfairly judged and that the evidence presented against them was misconstrued. The Ingrams argue that the coughing was coincidental and that Charles won the £1 million fairly without any fraudulent tactics. The legal and public fallout from this case was immense. Not only did the Ingrams face legal penalties, but they also suffered significant public humiliation and personal distress. The scandal highlighted vulnerabilities in the game show's format and prompted changes to prevent similar incidents in the future. This case remains one of the most infamous in television game show history, not only for the alleged cheating scandal, but also for the dramatic legal and public reactions it provoked. The case of Charles Ingram was not an isolated incident. It turns out that other individuals and groups also found ways to exploit the format of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for their gain. One of the most organized efforts was by a group known as the Consortium. The Consortium was a secretive group that devised a complex system to ensure their members won on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Their method was highly systematic and involved several steps to manipulate the selection process and game mechanics. First, they would spend a large amount of money calling the show's premium rate phone lines to increase the chances of their members being selected to compete. Once a member was called back, the Consortium employed stall tactics. They would claim the contestant was not home, buying time to prepare their candidate for the selection test. The questions for this test were often sourced from a public database and asked in a predictable rotation, which the Consortium had studied and prepared for extensively. When it came to actually playing the game, the Consortium had replicated the fastest finger first buttons so that their members could practice and increase their reaction times. If their member made it to the main game and used a lifeline like phone a friend, the call would be secretly redirected to a team of experts assembled by the Consortium. This team, working from a safe house, was equipped with fast internet access and reference materials to provide the correct answers. Alright, that's all for this video. Hit that subscribe button for more videos like this.